Yeah, I had an email the other day from an American guy called Evan, and it was really nice to get his email. Um, sort of covered quite a lot of ground, really. Um, and one of the things he brought up was, should he concentrate on just one or two um, teachers, um, like Ramesh Balsekar or um, Pema Chodron, the Buddhist nun, who he's a big fan of. Um, and yeah, I'd say straight away that I don't consider myself a teacher. Um, and what I try and do is just to what do I try and do? I don't try and do anything. I just let the words happen, really. Whatever wants to come out, it comes out. And either it will resonate with you or not. It's not in my control. But the teachings of Ramesh Balsekar, what they did for me was to just make things really understandable. I could understand everything that Ramesh was saying. He was so concise and so clear. And I recommend that if no one has, if you're watching this and you've never experienced the teachings of Ramesh Balsekar, that you search him on YouTube, put in something like back to the basics, where he will explain the basic concepts of what he called his teaching, and one of which was everything happens in accordance with God's will or cosmic law or intentionality. Universal intentionality is another way I've heard it explained. The one, I'm in trouble with my chair here. The great ordinator, the originator, the manifestation, the universal law, universal energy, all those things. That everything happens, it's all in the can. Everything happens exactly as it's going to happen. No deviations. There can never be any subroutes. What's going to happen is going to happen, and it was always going to happen. Just like in a film, everything is in the can. Which, when I first heard that, gave me sort of a great comfort, which I may have said before in another video. But one thing Ramesh would do is just repeat himself again and again and again, and most of the great masters did or do this. I was listening to a video by what's called a neo Advaita. I wasn't going to say teacher. She said she's not a teacher. A mouthpiece, I think, is another word to describe it. She's a mouthpiece. Whatever. Somebody asked her in this YouTube video, why do you do what you do? Why do you talk about non-duality? And she said, why do the birds sing in the morning? Why does a river flow? I guess. She said, I just do it. It's what I don't know what she said, what the words were, but basically that's what she feels like doing. And that was that it may be of help to somebody else. That's her job. That's her. It's her calling or whatever. Although I don't think she said that. Can't remember what she said. But she's amazing. She was brought up as a Catholic in America. And she talks about how at the age of 7 years old, she had an experience where she was just laying on her bed and she said her name, Anna, 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 again and again and again, until she realised that she was just this awareness. That was just the start of things. Because her conditioning was particularly difficult. And she had all kinds of problems in her life. Real struggles, like with an eating disorder, very bad eating disorder. And she said at one time she couldn't pay her bills. But why do you do this? Why? No one knows why. It just happens. People just do what people do. It rains when it rains. The sun shines when the sun shines. I guess the sun's always been shining, but you know what I mean. It's during the daytime. There aren't any clouds or few clouds, and the sun shines. The river flows. The fish jumps out of the river. It just all happens, and we think that. Well, we're conditioned to think that we're sort of separate from what's happening, that we're not part of the happening, and we are. It's like Ajahn Sumedho, the Buddhist. He was a senior monk at Amaravati in England, Hertfordshire. He just says it's like this. It's like this. It's like this. It's always like this. It's like this. In this moment, it's like this, and I'm like this. I'm part of this. It's like this. And we think that we're controlling everything. That we can somehow control what's happening or what's going to happen. I mean, like Ramesh would say, you do what you think and feel like doing, but don't be attached to the outcome. And I've talked about this before in other videos where, Ramesh says you make a decision and you're not in control of the outcome, like crossing a road to catch a bus home. I'm not going to go into that now. It's on another video. I forget which one now. I think it's All Just Happens, it's called. Anyway. Yeah, I'm very impressed by Anna Brown. She's very concise. She's very consistent. She's easy to understand. Why do we do anything? There's somebody very close to me. He said, "What have you been doing?" I said, "Oh, I've started a YouTube channel." He said, "Oh, what do you do on that then?" I said, "I just talk about life and my life experiences, really." He said, "Oh, what's the purpose of that then?" I said, "Oh, I don't know. I just found it helpful that going on YouTube and listening to some people, one guy called Ramesh Balsekar, and his devotee, Gautam Sachdeva, who also lives in Mumbai, as they call it now, the old Mumbai. I listen to them. It gives me a great comfort. I feel really peaceful listening to them. Oh yeah, it happens. Gautam's he's a really, I think he's, for me, the outstanding pupil or devotee of Ramesh Balsekar. Very calm, very peaceful. But like he says, he can still get angry, but he doesn't. It's just a biological reaction. He was talking about, he's in a restaurant with a couple of friends, and one said, "Oh, look at that girl's dress. What a beautiful shade of green." And the other friend of Gautam said, "It's not green. That dress is blue. You must be..." So they started to argue. "No, it's green. No, it's blue. It's definitely blue. Can't you see what's..." And Gautam said, "Look, it doesn't matter. You both agree on one thing. The girl is wearing a beautiful dress, a beautiful coloured dress. You think it's green. You think it's blue. So what? Just agree to disagree. And you can disagree without being disagreeable," which is something that Ramesh used to say. Really, none of these things matters, whether it's a blue dress or a green dress. Yeah, and I know from personal experience, I had an uncle who was what they call colourblind. And he often, if we were going somewhere, he'd often sort of appear and say to my auntie, his wife, "Does this all go together?" And she'd say, "Oh, for goodness sake, no." Because he would have the clashing cut. Say, "Oh, come, he'd have like a, I can't describe it really. He'd have a purple shirt with a lime green tie, That's not. So he'd have to be marched off by my aunt to find a suitable tie. Very often she'd make him change it, quite a few things to get him sort of colour coordinated. It's funny. And it's great how we can sort of adapt our senses as well, these sort of five senses. Because he was my uncle was in the RAF, and he was a sort of electronic engineer, that's right, on the aeroplanes. Doing all the wires, and they're all different colours. But he trained himself that what the blue wire looked like was that particular colour of grey. He said most things he saw in sort of greys and browns, but he knew which grey or brown was blue. I don't know, different colours. I think there's about 5 or 6, aren't there? Maybe more. I don't know. Sometimes they're 2 colours, aren't they? Green and yellow. But he could tell them. He soon taught himself which ones were which. Anyway, I digress a bit. So, yeah, another teacher I listened to, non-dual teacher, is a Frenchman called Francis Lucile, Lucile, and he is a pupil of Yves Klein, or Klein. We say Yves Klein, a German non-dual teacher. And, these people, particularly Francis, they have an absolute clarity of how they express things. But they all say the same things, but with a different framework. It's the same things they're saying, which I find very, very helpful, but just with a different emphasis. Like a concept I've recently come across is this sort of this concept of the explicit and the implicit. The explicit being, simply said, what we experience through our five senses, or perhaps even the sixth sense. This, this feeling in the body where we feel pain. We have a painful foot, or a headache, or a migraine, or I don't know, you bang your thumb with a hammer. You feel pain. So six senses. This felt sense, as it's called. So a lot of people live in this sort of world of the explicit, what they can see, hear, taste, touch, or smell. That's the world they live in. That the implicit, if you like, emotions, the emotional, the hidden, the unseen, doesn't really register that much with them. There's quite a few people in the world who are just incapable of feeling their own emotions, and as a result of that, they have no emotional intelligence. They have no empathy with how somebody else might be feeling. If you can't feel your own feelings, how on earth can you experience your own feelings? That's sort of not acknowledged. They obviously exist, but they just can't go there. They can't go into their own bodies. And I came across this quite a lot when I was in recovery myself from very, very deep trauma. And I've not really spoken about this very much up to now. People have asked me what happened. What happened? And I made a video about this, and I sort of alluded towards it, that my life fell apart in the same way that Pema Chodron's did. This American, as I now know, Buddhist nun who ended up in Canada, sort of running a Buddhist nunnery, I suppose you'd call it. How her life fell apart. In quite similar circumstances to me. But this inability for some people to actually go into this, just too frightening to go into their own bodies, to face the emotional distress, the emotions that existed at one time, and they're still there, sort of in a dormant state. What some people call the subconscious, which drives all of their behaviours. And this symptomatic behaviour, which happens, which it drives them, and it used to drive me, it's quite extraordinary. It's what psychologists and psychiatrists now label as being mental disorders, which the spiritual teachers and masters will explain away as samsaras, as they're called, these deep embedded beliefs and reactivity to events in the past. And when the arising conditions of nature ape those the conditions in which those happenings happened in the past, the people are triggered. And that's when you find people doing quite extraordinary things like self-harm. I knew a girl who used to go, highly intelligent, and now has become a very successful lawyer. But she used to go and get a brick from the garden and smash it, bang it against her head as hard as to make herself bleed. It was awful. Another one I know, she used to go and bang her head on a brick wall. She's so emotionally distressed. It's what the psychologists say. They label these these mental disorders, this behaviour as, I don't know, bipolar, borderline personality disorder, which used to be called multiple personality disorder, I think. Yeah, it's quite it's not funny really. Well, the girl used to bang her head on the wall. She used to always wear black clothing, black sort of jeans or trousers, and a black top, and black sort of like army boots, Dr. Martin boots, and she'd even wear them in bed, which is a behaviour which that happens because it's a safety mechanism, a learned behaviour to feel safe. God knows what happened to her, but she felt safe in bed in her black clothes and her boots. Some people might laugh. Yeah, it's quite strange what people do. Why? Why do they do it? They do it as a result of their genetic makeup and up-to-date conditioning. And their conditioning consisted of being traumatized. Something happened, buried, deep in the subconscious, as Jung called it, Carl Jung. Yeah, they think they know, they don't. They don't know. And then they give them all these sort of medications and drugs and injections, and even put them in straitjackets to get them better. But the only way to get is to find someone of great skill and empathy who can create a space whereby whatever happened can be faced and the trauma cycle can be completed, and all that trapped energy that makes you bang your head on a wall, get a brick and bash your head, or get a razor blade and slice your arms up till you have to be hospitalised, stitched up, bandaged up and sent home again. It's all the same thing. It's all trauma, unresolved trauma, usually from childhood. But I'll talk about this in more detail another day. But why do you talk about these things? Why do you talk? Because I do. Why do you talk about this non-duality stuff, Anna? Why do the birds sing in the morning? Oh, there's a great answer. We all do what we do because that's what we're going to do. And it depends on your up-to-date conditioning and your genetic makeup, what you do and what you don't do. You might get a thought to do something. Let's give an example. A young guy I knew, young son, he said to me once, I keep having this thought I'm going to get a knife and stick it in his young son's eye and kill him. I said, well, yeah, it's just a thought. You haven't done it, have you? He said, no. I said, I don't think you ever would you? He said, of course not. So I said, well, what's the problem? He said, well, I'm frightened of having these thoughts. And I said, well, it's just a thought. You don't manufacture your thoughts. They just collapse from hundreds of thousands of possibilities. A particular thought will collapse and you will think it. Don't worry about it. He found that quite helpful. Yeah. Still, there. Why do we do anything? Why? The perennial question. Why? And the answer to most of the whys is we don't know. Like the Dalai Lama would say, I don't know. I don't know. Why was the universe created? What happened? Why was there the Big Bang? We don't know. All we know is, or one concept is, that there was a potential energy, and scientists talk about this now, that everything just collapses into a tiny point, becomes a potential energy, which then energizes itself. And like Ramesh Balsekar would say, if it wasn't potential energy, it would be dead energy. And it would never potentialize itself. It's potential energy at rest that activizes itself and creates the manifestation. This intentionality of what is. It's like this. The universe is still expanding. They know this because of these new telescopes they put up. There was the Hubble, then there was the James telescope, then there's this latest one, I think it begins with a P. They've now discovered stars within galaxies, which, if using the calculations that the universe started 13.8 billion years ago, which was the accepted figure, that some of these giant stars would only be 500 million years old, which is impossible. Totally impossible. So I think I said this in one of my previous videos, that the figure's 13.8. It used to be 6 million years, and then it went to 13.8 billion. I think it might be trillions now. Trillions of years ago that the Big Bang happened. No one knows. And I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest. It's of no interest to me whatsoever. What I'm interested in is this lifetime, perhaps helping this world to be a better world. Just helping each other. Like the Dalai Lama says, just be kind. Like Rumi said, or wrote, we're just here to walk each other home. Anyway, I hope that helps. Yeah, I love Anna Brown. Why do you do this? Why do the birds sing in the morning? I love that answer. Because I do. They do. Right, so if you like this video, please subscribe. Push the like button, that helps with the algorithms. If you've got a question, put it in the comments below, or send me an email. Put my email in the box below as well. And like I said, I do one-to-ones, going to companies, just look at what is the dynamics of the business, which is all about processes and people. It's not about anything else. And a fresh pair of eyes is quite extraordinary what can come out of it. Usually it's the people that are doing lots of things that they don't really need to do, or don't even like doing very often, and perhaps doing some new things, or the old things in a much simpler, easier way. Anyway, they also do public speaking. It's quite fun. Just to end it, this YouTube analytics is really interesting. That quite a few people from the United States are watching these videos, and what the most surprising one is quite a few people in Singapore. I've been to Singapore. I really liked it, yeah, I've sort of had this dream. It's funny what you dream, isn't it? This is the waking dream, but the sleeping dream I had was I was actually invited, along with Anna Brown, funnily enough, to speak at sort of a gathering in Singapore, and they paid me quite a lot of money to do it, which. And then I woke up and thought, oh, it's just a dream. You know how you do. Anyway, yeah. Be really pleased to hear from anybody about anything. And yeah, you take care.